Welcome to Lake Mendota.
So there's your land rigging. Now we gotta get the boat in the water. So we'll step off the boat here. We're gonna basically get the cart that the sloop is resting on onto that platform. So we've got to get these out of the way, and you'll notice there's bright yellow painted no step marks all over this. So later in the season especially, and it's already starting a little bit, this will get covered in algae and it'll be really slippery. We had a sailor step on there and slip, and they hit their head on this. Give it a feel with your hand. Gave them a concussion is the main conclusion there. So don't step there. You can step on the cart, this is fine, but not onto the concrete. Alright, so we're gonna get this undone. I'll show you how to tie this at the end of the lesson. And then we're gonna move the sloop over onto the platform. We just gotta get these locks out of the way. And so, yeah, you'll want to push rather than pull. And it looks like it's already aligned, so let me step off so I'm not being pushed into my impending doom. And we'll see if it fits. Perfect. And you want to push it all the way. And you can step over here, but not on the concrete. Yep. Okay. And then go ahead and lock it into place. So you're going to take those locks, and I find they're easiest to manage at the hinge. Yep. Yep. Nice. So now that's locked onto the platform. And then we take the painter, and we take this control over here. It's already on and good to go. So I guess somebody's been out today. And we're going to have one person on the control and one person on the painter. So go ahead, go to the outside here, yep. And then you want to work the control. So what you're looking for is you see these cleats along the pier. You're going to go no further than about 2.5 cleats. So you see the first one's right by the railing here. And then there's a second one, then there's a little dock light, then there's a third one. So try about 2.5 cleats, and I'll be signaling to you and calling out whether I want it lower or higher. Good clarification. I believe it's the stern. We'll see with the water level. But I'll be communicating with you to coordinate. Sound good? Yep. Alright. And you got a down button and an up button. So you're just pressing, yeah. Cool. Alright, go ahead and lower, and then the rest of you with me. A little further, a little more down. Good, stop there. Alright, and then perfect, Aaron. Yeah, we're just gonna slip it off and bring it around. So we always want to depart from the leeward side, and we're in luck today with the wind coming. Well, actually the boats in the mooring field are facing different ways, but it's generally north. You can see some are facing northeast, some are facing northwest, some are facing north. So this should be fine in these low wind conditions. Depart from this side. We'll see what the wind's doing at the tip where we depart. Yep. Yeah, go ahead and bring it back up with the up button. It's pretty dead north from what I'm feeling on my face. Ooh, that was a big fish.
You don't have to take the card off, right?
No, that's a new policy. Because I guess most of the time people don't even, there's not like another one in line, so. Yeah, we'll depart from this side. Alright, so I'm just going to kick the stern around so we can pull in on that bow line. We'll try to flip it. The wind's not very hopeful for getting it over, but try to put some pull on here. Start grabbing on the edge to get it turned around. Yeah, I'm just turning it around. We're gonna stay on this side. There we go. Usually there'd be some wind to push on the hull. And Aaron, let's go ahead and see your cleat hitch.
To tie a cleat hitch, wrap around the cleat 1 to 3 times. Cross over and around, and then align your working end parallel with the line below. Flip and cinch over the far end of the cleat.
More tension around that cleat. And you can tie it one-handed even if you're really skilled. Yeah, you shoot it a little bit at the end there. Alright, so now that that's done, let's get our sail up. And we got a little bit of advantage here with the north wind. We can enter more comfortably than usual. So when you're entering the boat, you want to hold on to bolted down metal. So that'd be these side stays, the mast. The boom can move right now, right? Because it's loose, so don't grab onto that. So bolted down metal for your balance. You always want at least 3 points of contact. That can be your hands, your feet, or your butt. I think the butt counts as a 5th one. As long as you're seated like this, I think you're pretty stable and can work with both hands. Alright, but you're going to want to keep your weight balanced, and then of course as we get more crew on, we need to balance out the boat. And we're going to alternate sides. So I like to get everybody in the boat, and then we'll start raising the sail. And who wants to raise the main today? There are going to be 2 people involved in that. Alright, Leonard. Alright, and Jude. Alright, so let's get Aaron and Joel in first. And just keep your weight centered. And then Joel, take it slow. Joel, let's have you enter at the same time. Yep. Yeah, and as we're sailing and balancing out against our sail, we'll just have to keep the crew weight distribution even. And then Jude and Leonard, go ahead, and we can raise the sail. So one of you is going to grab onto the main halyard, and you're going to use your body weight to just squat and pull down on that main halyard line. That'll be you, Leonard. And Jude, what I'm going to have you do is sit kind of by the mast there, and you're going to help feed the mainsail into this divot. You see that thicker part? Yep. And then Joel and Aaron, what you got to be aware of is what's going to happen once that sail's starting to lift the boom. It's going to be right at your head height, and if the wind was stronger, it'll be flapping right about at your head. So I want you to lift that boom, and I want you to stay low, and you can come a little more forward in the boat and just protect your heads with your arms and keeping that boom above your heads until we've got that sail raising it away from you. Yep. That'll also prevent it from getting caught on the tiller. And then if you notice that the sail is getting caught on your feet or anything down there, just help it out. Alright, everybody clear on what to do? Alright, Leonard and Jude, start raising. So hold up, bring it down a little bit. So Jude, we gotta feed right here, and I'll show you some technique for feeding. You gotta get your palms beneath the divot here, and then it'll just feed right in. So Leonard, go ahead and lower a little bit. Ease the main halyard, yep. And then Jude, I want you to, yeah, have your palms out right below that divot, yep. And now go ahead and raise. Nice, that's working well. Oh, I caught again. So ease. And you gotta really squeeze it, Jude, to help feed it in. So I like to get my palms right about here. Yep. So right where that divot is, get your palms and squeeze hard. You see where that divot is? So you're helping feed that in. Yep, there you go. And Leonard, you're probably going to notice that it's hard to pull. So what I actually like to do is I stand on the bow, and Jude, I'd recommend sitting on the bow here facing the stern from the mast, and you're just going to help feed it. And Leonard, I would actually stand on the bow over here and use your body weight to help pull, because the sloop sail doesn't go up easily. There's no winch or anything to grind on to help you mechanically. So I would stand on the bow in front of the mast and keep your balance, yep. And you're gonna want to, I would face the stern, be at the mast, face the stern, like behind Jude. So if everybody centers the weight in the boat more, so try to get a little more weight to starboard, I can hop aboard and I'll show you what I mean. Okay. So Leonard, I would be doing this. Oh, like jumping it. So I'm using my body weight right now to pull.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you're skipping that one. Resistance finger too.
Yep. Yeah, and then we'll just take up the slack at the end.
Yeah, I got it.
Cool, there you go. That's a nice pull. And then Joel and Aaron, just continue to protect yourselves and help the sail. Nice. Good technique. And then Leonard, I just want you to pause for a second because that sail's slippery for you to step on. You want to be stepping on hull. And then no lines either. So make sure your feet are clear of lines or sail. There you go. I just don't want you slipping.
Yeah, I know. I can feel it.
Yep. That'll go down there. Yep. And then we're going to attach the Cunningham and hold that tension. And then Jude, help him by taking in the slack. That he's just done all that work. We want to take that slack up immediately so that we don't lose any of that progress. Nice. Good job. And now we're going to put on the Cunningham right there. That's that green line on the starboard side, on the port side of the mast. Yep, put it through the tack here, and it's going to go down to this cleat on the starboard side of the mast. So just thread it through from the top to the bottom, cleat it off, and then I like to tie a slip knot. If you know that one from the dinghies, otherwise I can show you. Because I wouldn't trust any of the cleats on these boats. So you make a twist, and you shove a bite through it. Yeah, so if you want to make it tight to your target, you got to form the twist right at the cleat. we've got it on the cleat there. Form your twist right there, and then shove the bite through immediately, and cinch the twist right away. Then it'll hold without any slack. Go ahead. Now grab the loop and the knot. And now cinch the knot toward your target. There you go. Cool. Yeah, so I'll hold and it'll be easy to undo. Good job. Alright, so we've got a sail up. On Badger sloops, you know, there's your dinghy principles still apply. Hard on blue days or whatever acronym you learned. So typically you want things lighter for light wind and you want them tightened for heavy wind. However, on the Badger sloops, I kind of make an exception. I just like the outhaul cranked in all the way, no matter what the wind conditions are, just to have the boom as high as possible. So the outhaul is here. You can see it runs. We got this yellow line, and it's the same color out the other side, all the way to the clew back there. So I'm gonna yank in on it, and watch how this raises the boom as it gets on more tension. So on a Badger sloop, I highly recommend that in any wind condition, because the boom is really low on these boats and it's not comfortable. So I always like to crank it down as much, and I could actually get even a little more if I pull here and then take it in, and I'm gonna add a little slip knot, just like we did with the Cunningham. Sure.
So I think if it's a heavy wind day, I would try to get the sail as low as you can to the boom, so that the boat doesn't feel over, so you get a little bit less sail area to go off.
Yeah.
But you want to try and have this be sort of a straight line. So I would lower the halyard, cinch up on the Cunningham, and bring that sail just a little lower.
Yep. And in fact, if it was heavier too, we'd also reef, which is where we reduce sail area. So you see these reefing points along the sail, these white and red speckled lines. You can reduce sail area, reduce how much you're heeling over in the heavier wind by lowering the main halyard and then rolling up the sail from the foot, and we basically form a new tack and a new clew. You see that metal ring further up the sail, and how it traces along to these reefing points and then reaches all the way to a new clew back there. So we'd attach the outhaul there, we'd attach the Cunningham to this new higher tack point, and we'd roll the sail, and then we'd tie reef knots to hold the sail that's now rolled and bagged. The Badger sloops are designed to be ideal for 10 miles per hour, and I'd say you could do full sail comfortably at that, but as soon as it's hitting like 14, I would reef. These are not meant to be out in blue flag conditions, especially. There is no heavy rating for the Badger sloop. We're not allowed to take them out in blue flag, just because when they capsize, unlike the dinghies, we can't uncapsize them easily. Yeah, they have massively oversized sails relative to their hull and design.
They were designed with more sail, weren't they?
Yeah, they were designed to be ideal for the typical conditions on this lake, but if it's heavier winds, they capsize and they can't be uncapsized easily. You have to get dragged back by life-saving.
In their original, they were designed by Hoofer Committee, and they're based on a boat called the Interlake.
That's right.
And that's the fleet that Hoofer's had for years.
Mm.
But, and they had steel gunnel tanks, like a Badger deck, and they had larger masts, but some design changes were made, and less rigid masts were put on them, and these were not sealed up, so they became very difficult to ride. They were originally designed to sail in blue flag and be rideable.
Whoever had the book with copper, I put it in there because it's
Sounds good. I believe that was mine. That's fine. Thank you. Okay, so then let's get everybody into the cockpit, and I'm just double checking. Yep, I had already checked it out at 11:07 that I have the boat checked out, and I do already. Cool. So let's get everybody in the cockpit. The only thing left to do at this point is to lower the centerboard. What would happen if we didn't have the centerboard down and we tried to sail off here? Yeah, we wouldn't be able to go upwind. We'd side slip right away. So if you ever gonna drift toward the shore, and you're gonna panic, and then you're gonna remember, oh shit, my centerboard, and barely recover, and then you'll probably still forget like 3 other times over the next decade, but you know, you'll forget less frequently. Yeah, we'll have it down initially, and then we'll raise it once we get out further from the pier here. Okay, so let's get the centerboard down. Yep. And then Aaron, you good on tiller? I'm basically just gonna have you hold the tiller straight. I'm gonna shove us off so that we're at a close reach or even a beam reach, hopefully. And we're just gonna hold the course, and then I'll kind of clamber back there. I'd like everybody to sit a little more forward to give Aaron some space, and we're just gonna keep the boat balanced as we sail. So if you got shift your crew weight at all, do so to keep the boat from heeling. Any questions before we head out? All right, let's do it. I'm gonna give us a shove. Ready? I'm gonna give a shove from the bow so we get the angle. Let your sheet out. Yep. Oh, it's known to do that. Let the sail go. Heads down. And we got to keep a little bit of crew weight toward the sail. So hold this course, you're doing great. We're just going to build up some speed for a little bit. So could I get one more crew member shift the weight so that, yeah, Joel, maybe come up and join Barry on the port side here. We just always want the sail vertical or tipped slightly away from the wind. You don't want it tipped toward the wind because then it won't sail as efficiently. Let it swing, just duck it. Oh, we're off sailing.
Subscribe for more smooth sailing content.